Online critics pointed out the irony of making a spin-off of the well-known South Korean show. The original series features participants dealing with huge debts, risking their lives in twisted and violent children's games. In the show, Squid Game: The Challenge, contestants are taking part in a test. It's a reality competition inspired by Netflix's popular South Korean drama, Squid Game. However, instead of a real challenge, they're just playing a luck-based game. Each player has to choose someone to be eliminated and then roll a dice. The first two games in Squid Game: The Challenge are Red Light, Green Light and Dalgona, a cooking and cutting competition, following the format of the original show. It's a bit ironic since Squid Game focuses on social and economic disparities, the rich exploiting the poor, and the struggles of Korea's financially struggling workers. In the Dalgona game, dealing with the umbrella shape is the trickiest because of its small and delicate curves. In Squid Game: The Challenge, the players are divided into groups, and each group has a leader standing at the front. In Squid Game Episode 9, the last game is played, and the main character, Seong-gi-hun, who is player 456, emerges as the winner. His childhood friend and player 218, Cho Sang-woo, sacrifices himself. The major takeaway from Squid Game includes several key life lessons. First, it emphasizes that money doesn't guarantee happiness. Additionally, the show suggests that having good principles doesn't automatically make someone a good person. It explores the theme that greed can lead to destructive consequences, and highlights the unfortunate reality that bad things can happen to good people. Another lesson is that being overly kind can have serious consequences, even leading to harm. The importance of strategy over brute force is underscored, and the show ultimately promotes the idea that empathy equals wisdom. Overall, Squid Game imparts valuable insights into various aspects of life. Complaints about boring, underpaid work, and the constant fear of losing jobs have always been linked to the capitalist system. Squid Game suggests that there could be a different way to live. Similar to Battle Royale and The Hunger Games, Squid Game highlights the high moral cost of entertainment in a deeply unequal society. On the other hand, The Challenge seems to say that, if you don't dwell too much on it, the entertainment is still enjoyable to watch. Young-soo is revealed as the mastermind behind Squid Game. The problem with Squid Game: The Challenge might stem from its morally questionable inspiration. This reality competition spin-off is based on the hugely popular Korean survival drama, Netflix's Squid Game, and it revolves around one thing: greed. Just like the scripted series, participants are competing fiercely for money, going to great lengths to win. Unlike the fictional version, the game doesn't involve life or death, but it requires cold and calculated moves to progress. Essentially, the show taps into our most desperate and unsavory qualities. A participant described the experience as the cruelest, meanest thing they've ever been a part of, as reported in Rolling Stone magazine. With a $4.56 million cash prize, the largest in TV history, Netflix proudly highlights the high stakes, emphasizing that the worst fate is going home empty-handed. The very premise sets up contestants for a tough and ruthless experience, even before the cameras start rolling. Early in the production of Squid Game: The Challenge, reports surfaced indicating that things were not going smoothly, and contestants faced more than just the challenges of the game itself. Allegedly, there were inhumane conditions during filming. According to anonymous contestants who spoke with Variety, the Red Light, Green Light game was particularly traumatic. Participants were awakened at 3:30 a.m. and had to endure a 2-hour trip to the filming location, a former Royal Air Force hangar with sub-freezing temperatures. Although they were given coats, thermal underwear, and 2 pairs of socks, they were instructed to remove their coats and leave their thin Squid Game jackets unzipped for filming, making them extremely cold. One participant likened it to a human horse race where the horses were left out in the cold. Contestants had provided forms from their doctors, expecting the filming for this game to last around 2 hours with poses held for up to 2 minutes. However, the filming stretched past 7 hours, and poses had to be held for 10 to 15 minutes, with one lasting as long as 26 minutes. Participants hadn't signed up for the environmental challenges of a series like Survivor, and were unprepared for the freezing conditions. Since the harsh temperature was unrelated to the game itself, many contestants felt it was unfair. Adding to the discomfort, water and bathroom breaks were not allowed during the entire filming of this game. The show is facing criticism over claims that it favored high-profile participants. Contestants allege that TikTok and Instagram influencers were the only ones with working microphones, while most others had dummy microphones. They also claim that these influencers often had rules bent in their favor. Netflix denies giving special treatment, but at least one participant feels like she was treated as nothing more than an extra. Despite the historic cash prize, some contestants feel that producers preferred those with a whatever-it-takes attitude, even if it meant disregarding health and safety. An upset player even suggested renaming the show from Squid Game to Rigged Game. Squid Game, the challenge, quickly dives into action, kicking off with a high-stakes game of red light, green light within the first few minutes of the first episode. In this game, a state-of-the-art motion tracking system detects movement, and when it does, an ink packet attached under each player's shirt bursts, resembling a paintball hit. This effect marks a player's elimination, determined by motion sensors, cameras, and game arbiters. The squib is not only used in red light, green light, but also in Episode 2 during a game called Dalgona. In Dalgona, breaking the interior shape of the Dalgona candy triggers the squib, and players must lie on the ground until the game concludes. Now, let's talk about squibs and shirts. At the start of the competition, all 456 players received a t-shirt and a tracksuit. In the initial test of the squibs, there was an unexpected problem. The ink wasn't bursting through the t-shirts as intended. Executive producer Tim Harcourt explains, "The costume team were washing the t-shirts with a laundry detergent that had too much starch, and it was acting as a blocker." This led to a quick switch to a low-starch alternative just before the competition began. Certainly, some players only needed their tracksuits and shirts for a game or two before getting eliminated. Those who survived the early rounds received a second tracksuit. These tracksuits had detachable numbers, allowing players to easily switch them to a clean set of the same size. T-shirts were washed as needed throughout the game. According to Harcourt, ensuring everyone had bright green tracksuits was a significant production task. Hay adds, "The costume room was almost as big as one of the other sound stages. It was a giant operation to sort, prepare, launder, and distribute all of these clothes. Everything was on a different scale to anything that we've ever done before." In Squid Game, the challenge, where everything is carefully planned for maximum intensity, the numbers on each player's tracksuit were entirely random. According to Harcourt and Hay, the team didn't aim to convey a specific message with the numbers. Instead, players were simply assigned a number before filming started. For instance, consider Leanne and Trey, a mother-son duo with consecutive numbers. Although the team was cautious about certain assignments, ensuring for example that they didn't accidentally give the number 001 to the oldest man in the dorm, randomly assigning numbers was the only way to maintain the genuine nature of the competition. Cameras were nearly everywhere, especially in the dorms, where players spent most of their downtime and did most of their planning. According to Hay, there were around 60 to 70 small black robo-cameras in the dorms, some of which can be seen in certain shots. While basic privacy was maintained, robocams were strategically placed in corners and at the top of bunk beds, among other spots. Additionally, there were hidden cameras at eye level. Hay explains, "Those are ENG cameras, and they're much more flexible," referring to electronic news gathering cameras commonly used by on-the-go broadcast news teams. You can move them around and zoom in on people if they're having secret conversations or interesting chats, whereas the robo-cameras are there just to catch everything else that's going on. They're always rolling in their area, but they're less flexible in the shots that they can give you. Some of the ENG cameras were concealed behind mirrored sections in the wall, while others operated behind a one-way mirror and various hides around the room. In total, about 110 cameras were rolling in the dorm during any given scene. Many contestants express frustration with Netflix's perceived lack of accountability. They are dissatisfied with the streaming platform's mild response to reported injuries, with one former player stating that everyone was injured just by going through the experience. The show's co-producers, Studio Lambert and The Garden, are also criticized for their lack of preparation and flexibility. While one contestant acknowledges Studio Lambert's care during pre-production, she claims that it changed once the game started, and she no longer felt supported. Despite the controversies surrounding the reality show spin-off, Netflix is actively working on a second season for the original fictional series, Squid Game. What are your thoughts on the troubling allegations against Squid Game, The Challenge? Share your opinions in the comments below.